Good evening, students. In today's class, we will learn about types of belts and fasteners. So, before that, there are various methods of transmitting power from one shaft to the other shaft. For example, one is belt drive, then second gear drive, then rope drive, or chain drive, etc. So, under belts drive, there are various types of belts. So, the belts names are given here. Basically, 5 types of belts are used for the transmission of power: flat belt, V belt or multiple V belt and multiple V belt, ribbed belt, toothed or timing belt, and link belt. The choice of a particular belt depends upon speed ratio. One is speed ratio, how much the speed, how much the driver pulley is rotating, to what RPM is rotating. On that basis, belts are selected. Second, center between the pulleys, how much center distance is there. On that basis, flexibility in the pulleys, in both the shafts, whether it is little flexible or steady at one particular position without any adjustment. On that basis, strength, how much strength required, how much strength is falling on the shaft, so how much load should the belt should take. On that basis, economy, that means cost wise, cheaper for cost wise, for when the when the belts is not when the load is not affecting so much, so the ordinary belt can be used. And maintenance consideration, considering the maintenance, that means if a belt worn out very quickly, so in such case we have to go for a good quality or heavy belt, heavy type of belt we have to select. On that basis, the belts are selected. The first one is V belt. V belt drives are generally used when the distance between the shaft is too short for flat belt drives, owing to the wedge action between the belt and the sides of the groove. So V belt, where the V belt is selected, V belt is selected when the center distance between the shafts very close. So in such case, the V belts are selected, because in that case, flat belts are not recommended. Then types of fasteners. The belt fasteners economically used in addition to the alligator type and are as follows. So here joining the flat belts, so weight belts are available in the center distance wise, throughout the circumferential distance, but flat belts are available in length wise. As per the need, we have to cut the belt and we have to use on the pulleys. So these end of the flat belts are joined with various methods. So out of that, belt fasteners are given here. For that, belt fasteners are given here. Out of belt fastener, here first one is the wire type belt fastener. Shows the wire type belt fastener generally used on light duty machines. So this belt fastener, the wire type, this is used for light duty machine where the load is minimum affecting on the belt, or load is minimum in the pulleys. In such cases, this belt fastener is used. Second one is regulator type belt fastener. So this regulator type belt fastener used on heavy duty machines. Here, since it is heavy duty machine, so end of the belts are but each other. End of the belt, both the ends of the belt but each other, and drill holes are made, and through the drill holes, the hook type of clamps are inserted, and through the hole of the clamp, a pin or a rod is passed. So this is, since this is the clamps are used, since it is very strong, that's why it is used for heavy duty machines. Jackson type belt fastener. The Jackson type belt fastener illustrated in figure is used on medium duty machines. So neither light duty nor heavy duty, medium duty machines, these belt fasteners are used. Crescent plate belt fastener. Here the figure shows mechanical type belt fastener which is used on medium duty machines. So another type of belt fastener, this also is recommended for medium duty machine. The next one, alligator type. Alligator type fasteners are used in joining belting for industrial purpose. The belt fastener is made of steel sheets. The pins shall be made from mild steel wire conforming with IS standard. Belt fasteners are shown in figure, and the position of the pin is joint is illustrated here. So here the belt fasteners are alligator type. A steel strip is available having a teeth like hooks like. These hooks are cut required to the width of the required width of the belt, and then it is inserted at the end of the both the ends of the belt by hammering, and through the hook, so that the matching position is there. When it's matching, in the middle a steel wire or mild steel wire is inserted, and this belt is used for general purpose machines. Specification: the fastener designation and pin size, the thickness of the belt and other dimensions are given in the table as per the size. So that is about the types of belts and belt fasteners. And the types of belts, flat belt is there, V belt and multiple V belt. So V belt is a single V belt are available. If the pulley has got a single groove or double groove, individual belts V belts are selected. In case of a multiple V belt, belt having a number of grooves, V grooves, or number of V belts are selected for heavy duty machines. Then ribbed belt, in a single belt, many V grooves are there. So similarly, the pulley also manufactured in such a way to match with the belt. So this is the belt. Then tooth or timing belt. This tooth or timing belt, where it is used, the reason for using this is where the correct RPM should be transmitted from one shaft to the other without any slippage. In such cases, for timing purpose, for correct timing purpose, so in such cases these belts are used. And link belt, this also used for heavy duty machines. So these are the various types of belts. And for joining the flat belt, different types of clamps are explained here. Belt fastener, like belt fastener, Regulator type, Jackson type, Crescent type, and alligator type. Now next lesson is belts tension. Belts must be tensioned carefully to transfer the torque from the driving pulley to the driven pulley to prevent unnecessary wear. Too much of belt tension curtails belt and bearing life. As the belts stretch in use, it is necessary to check and adjust the belt drive tension. So belt tension, why the belt tension is very important. If the belt is not properly tensioned due to the heavy load of the or heavy torque of the machine, the belt starts slipping. So that what happens, the belt will start slipping and the correct RPM will not be transmitted from driver pulley to the driven pulley. The speed will be reduced. That's one thing. Too much tension of the belt is also harmful for the belt. One is for the belt wear and belt wear, unnecessary wear. The second reason is it will damage the bearing of the pulleys, bearing of the shaft, and the belt due to stretch, the life of the belt also reduced. When a drive is transmitting power, the belt pulls or the belt tensions, there is a tight side tension and a slack side tension. So when a shaft is rotating, a driver pulley is rotating, the belt also start rotating. So there are two sides. So one is tension side and other one is a tight side, slack side. Tension ratio. The ratio of the tight side to the slack side tension is commonly referred to as the tension ratio. A higher ratio between the tight side and slack side tension makes the belt loose and slip. This causes lack of effective pull for transmitting the required power. So tension ratio means it is the ratio between the tight side and the slack side. A higher ratio between the tight side and slack side tension makes the belt loose and slip. Means if the tension of the belt is not proper, the bolt is loose, what happens? The ratio is more and the belts more slips from the pulley, and that's why the RPM, the required RPM is not transmitted from driver pulley to the driven pulley. So for that purpose adjustment is required, and for adjustment of tension, when the distance between the two pulleys is fixed, the tension of a belt is adjusted by an idler. So if both the pulleys are fixed in position, no adjustment is possible. So for that purpose one idler pulley is used, where the idler pulley is used and proper tension is maintained. When the distance between two pulleys is not fixed, the tension of the belt is adjusted by the adjustment screws. If the pulleys are not fixed at position, adjustment is there, so that by tightening the screw, the center distance between the pulleys can be extended and proper tension can be given to the belt. Arc of contact. Tension is necessary to create a friction between the pulleys and the belt. Torque transmission depends on the contact area of the belt over the pulleys. So arc of one, if a belt is not much contact with the pulleys, so that belt will not take a proper torque. So what will happen? The belt will start slipping. So the belt should be properly contact with the pulley, and this is only because when the center distance between the pulleys is more, that time only the belt will have a good contact with the pulleys, more surface will contact. For this, if the pulleys are very close, for that some other method is there to make the belt to have a more contact with the pulleys. That is explained later. If the warping angle is big, the pulleys can transmit high torque. That means if the contacting area of the belt with the pulleys is more, so that belt will take more torque, the belt will carry. Belt efficiency. To provide maximum arc of contact, the following points should be considered. So make the belt to contact maximum area of pulleys. So some points are given here, those points you have to consider. Heavy belts or multiply construction should not be used on small diameter pulleys. So heavy sectional belts should not be used on small diameter pulleys. Second one, if the arc of contact is insufficient because of the short center distance between the pulleys, a jockey pulley should be introduced as near to the small pulley as possible. So the second point is, if the center distance between the pulleys is less, very short, so then a third pulley is used, that is jockey pulley. This pulley is used near the smaller pulley to make the belt in more tension and to have a more contact with the pulleys. Excessive tension in the belt reduces the arc of contact and introduces additional stress, which drastically reduces the life of the belt and bearings. So if the tension of the belt is too much also, it is not right. What will happen if the belt tension is more? It increases the stresses with the belt increases the stress, and also it damages the belt. There will be more wear of the belt, and also it will damage the bearing. Vertical drives should definitely be avoided because the belt tension necessary to withstand gravitational pull and accompanying slippage would result in adverse effect. If the belt is used vertically, so that such position should be avoided, because there will be gravitational force effective on the belt, and that is always damaging the belt, and there will be more slippage in the belt. On the open belt drive, the slack side must be at the top and the center distance between the two pulleys should be maximum. So in the open belting system, always the slack side should be upper side. The slack side should be upper side. That means if the shaft is rotating in a clockwise direction, always the slack side should be upper side and tight side will be the bottom side. So and both the pulleys should have a maximum distance. To measure tension of V belts, to determine the force required to deflect one belt per 25 mm span length, apply a force perpendicular to the span at the center of the belt is large enough to deflect one belt to 0.5 mm span from its normal position. So this is a method of checking the V belt tension. Just applying the load for 25 mm span length, apply perpendicular to the span to the center, and the belt large enough to deflect one belt to 0.5 mm span and its normal position. Compare this deflection force with the range of forces given in table. If it is less than the minimum recommended deflection force, the belt should be tightened. So if the force is less than the minimum recommended, so then the belt should be tensioned. If it is more than the maximum recommended deflection force, the drive is tighter than it need be. So if the force is if it is more than the maximum recommended deflection force, the drive is tighter than it need be, means the drive is too much tight and than it's needed. Care and maintenance. Keep the pulley faces and belts free from foreign material which may cause slips. So for carrying the belt, care and maintenance of the belt, the first point is very important point. Always the pulley should be dry. No oil, no grease, or nothing should be on the pulleys, groove, or any foreign material. So that will make the belt to slip. When the V belts begin to show sign of wear, they should be replaced. Replace all the belts in a multiple V belt drive rather than a single one. So if a belt shows that wearing a belt shows a wear of sign. So in such cases, that belt should be changed. If pulley has got many grooves, more than one grooves, 2, 3, or 4 something. So in case if any one belt is damaged or worn out, instead of changing one belt, it is better to change all the belts at a time. Check and adjust drive tension periodically. So periodically, the tension of the belt must be checked. Store belts in a cool, dark, and dry place. So always the belt should be in a cool and dark and dry place, because if it has become wet, the belt gets spoiled. For that purpose, always it is a dark and a cool place, and dry place should be stored. The belt tension should be adjusted in such a way that the deflection force is in between the maximum and minimum. So the tension of the belt properly in such a way that it should not be too tight or too loose. So always in the medium range, the belt must be tensioned. Maintenance feature of the V belts. The one chart is given. In this chart, one is trouble. So what trouble we are facing in belt drives, and for that cause is given, what reason for that trouble, and remedy, what solution we can select, what solution we can make. The first, belt slips. The trouble is always the belt slips. So reason for this is less tension. Belt is not tensioned properly, or it is overloaded. So machine is overloaded. The load is effective on the belt is more than its capacity. Oiliness in the groove of the pulley or belt. So in the groove of the pulley there is oil, or belt inner surface having oil. Because of 3 reasons, belt slips. And for this solution is the remedy is for less tension, increase the tension, overload, reduce the load. Oiliness in the groove of the pulley or belt. It is clean the belt, inner portion of the belt, and pulley groove also must be clean. Second trouble is frequent belt spoilage. So frequently the belt is spoiled. The belt life is very short. The belt is not coming for long period. Very quickly the belt gets spoiled. Frequent belt spoilage. For that reasons are there: excessive weight, shock load. Excessive weight means the pulley is get heated up, and because of it the belt gets spoiled. Because since the belt is the outer core is made of rubber, so the belt will wear or it get spoiled. Then shock load, suddenly load is affecting on the machine, and the belt is not able to carry that much load. Misalignment, the center distance between the pulleys is not proper, not in the same axis. Misalignment is there. Damage show, the groove of the pulley is damaged. The foreign particles, there is a dust, dirt, and all in the groove of the pulley. And drive overloaded. So the drive is overloaded, means too much load is affecting on the belt. So these are the causes for frequent belt spoilage, and the remedy is given here. For excessive weight, provide ventilation or use neoprene jacket. So proper ventilation required to cool the machine, cool the pulleys. Shock load, avoid shock load as far as possible and increase the belt tension. Shock load means avoid sudden load falling on the machine, sudden load falling on the belt, so that must be avoided. Damage to, so if the damage to, recondition the stave, and foreign particles are there, clean the groove of the belt, groove of the pulley and also the belt, and a clean environment must be provided, and a proper belt guards also should be there. Then if the overload is there, if the belt, check that all the belts in the drive have the same tension. If not, provide matching belts. So if more than one belts are there in the assembly, means the pulley has got more than one groove. So if one belt is spoiling, so that means the particular belt is having it. The particular belt is getting more load. So check the load equally of the pulley and all the belts equally, and accordingly adjust it. The next trouble, the belt wipes excessively. So center distance between the pulleys is more. Belt wipes or belt, the rubber is the belt is worn out, and the open it is curling and open it. So for this purpose, for this reason, center distance between the pulleys is more. The center distance between the pulleys is more, and pulsating load. So provide an idler. If the center distance is between the pulleys is more, then provide idler on third pulley. Idler pulley you have to select to keep the belt in proper tension. and pulsing load, for that introduce a flywheel in the drive system. So for taking the load, one flywheel must be introduced in the system. Next, belt squeals or twisted. Drive is overloaded, inadequate arc of contact, high starting torque. So drive is overloaded, too much load is falling on the machine. That because of that, belt squeals are twisted. Second reason is inadequate arc of contact. So arc of contact, the center between the pulley is too less. Arc of contact with the area of contact of the belt with the pulley is too less. And third one is high starting torque. So at the starting point, suddenly heavy load is falling on the belt. These are the three reasons. So and for that, first drive overloaded, check that all the belts in the drive are evenly loaded. So evenly loaded, all the belts are there in the pulley, whether it is evenly loaded. Then inadequate arc of contact. So provide idler, if the center between the pulley is less, the less area of the pulley is contact with the belt, so provide idler pulley. And third one is high torque, starting torque, increase the belt tension. So at the starting time, if sudden load is affecting, so in such cases increase the belt tension. The belt is tension is not proper, so that belt squeezed or twisted. So thank you, students.